Happy Friday afternoon, wherever you are watching. I know here in Texas, where I am, it is noon on the dot. And it's a gorgeous day today, which is nice because earlier in the week we had some pretty bad storms and it was pretty dreary and kind of gloomy. So I'm really happy that the weather has gotten a little better here. It is May 1st, a brand new month, Friday, and we're almost at the weekend, although it doesn't really matter because every day feels like the exact same day that it was before, doesn't it? So that's exciting. Today we are going to read a great book. I am super excited to share it with you. But before I get started, I want you guys here on Facebook, I want you to comment and let me know, and even Instagram, and let me know where you are watching from today. What's the weather like where you are? What is your May 1st like? Is it nice and sunny? Is it a little dreary and overcast? What's the weather like where you are today? Now, I guess I forgot. My name is Cara Carroll, and I taught kindergarten, first grade, and second grade 15 years. And that's a long time to be in the classroom, and I love it so much. And I am excited to be with you today to share with you a couple of things. Let's go ahead, and I'm just looking down here at my dog, and he's doing something really strange. So if I seem a little distracted, it's because he's distracting me a lot. Now, before we get started on this story, I want to talk to you a little bit today about making inferences, because that's what we're going to be talking today. That's going to be our comprehension skill, our strategy that we're going to be working on today. And we are going to be talking, what does it mean to make an inference? Now, I know that making an inference is, you can get these, by the way, you can get these printables on my website. It's justcaracarroll.com under the ELA tab. And all of the printables will be there for you. There's not a ton today. This was a busy week here at our house. I'm sure you are experiencing the same thing where you are right now with all I have two boys. One's in the 6th grade and one's in the 5th grade. And so it's a lot. It's a lot right now doing distance learning. So it's been a busy week here. Not a ton of printables, but I do have some really great activities to share with you with the book that I'm going to be doing today. And again, you can get those at justcaracarroll.com. I'll link that here as soon as we are all finished with the lesson. All right, but what does it mean to make an inference? Now, an inference is really something that you are going to guess, something that the author does not specifically state in the story, but you're going to, it's really just a really good guess based on context, clues, and your schema. So when you make an inference in a story, you're really thinking about, you're really making a guess based on the clues in the story plus what you already know, which is your schema. That's all the information that's already stored in your brains. So like if I were to sit here and I were to ask you, what do you already know about dogs? What is your schema about dogs? And you are able to tell me all sorts of different things. Well, all the things that you're able to tell me are all the things that are stored in your brain. That's your schema. That's things that you already know. It's your background experience. It's your knowledge about a particular subject or topic or, something like that. That is your schema. So when I'm making an inference, I'm taking my schema, all that knowledge in my brain, and then I'm combining it with the evidence in the text, maybe picture clues or things that the author has written in the text. And that's how I'm making my inference. So we're going to practice making inferences today with the story that I'm going to be reading. But first, I need your help. Now, my mom recently called me the other day and she was like, Cara, I have got a project for you. I'm like, oh man, what's that going to be, Mom? And she said, she's not really getting out of the house much. And so she wants me to be responsible for getting a gift for her friend. Well, she said, would you please mind going to the store and getting a gift for my friend? And I was like, sure, Mom, who's your friend? And so she told me who her friend was. And then that's all she told me. And then I couldn't get a hold of her after that. But here's the thing, is that I don't know much about my mom's friend. So how am I supposed to know what kind of a gift that I'm going to get for her, right? Like, how am I supposed to know what kind of things she likes or what things are appealing or interesting to her? I have no idea. So I started thinking, you know what? I bet I could figure those things out on InferenceGram. That's right. I got on InferenceGram and I found my mom's friend. my mom's friend, her handle is called @LoveMyKids. And I'm gonna read her bio here, and we're gonna kind of go through these pictures together, because I think, as I was thinking about it the other day, I might not know my mom's friend, I might not know much about her, but I can use Instagram to kind of help me understand maybe some of the things she likes. I can look at the pictures there that she has on her profile, and I can say, these are some things she likes, and maybe it will help me to determine what kind of a gift would be best fit for her. So I want you guys to help me look at some of these pictures, read the bio, and then give me your suggestions for a great gift for my mom's friend. All right, so I'm gonna get a little closer here if you can see this. All right, so my mom's friend, her handle is called @LoveMyKids. So I'm assuming I'm making an inference. She's not specifically stating this, although her handle does kind of suggest this. I'm guessing she loves her kids. So I'm also gonna make an inference that she's a parent and she has kids. Okay, so she's a mom, awesome. All right, it says mom and teacher. Oh, that was in her bio. Okay, so she's a teacher also. Now, what's my schema about teachers? I know that teachers work really, really hard. I know that teachers love markers and crayons and flare pens, some of them. I know that I think some of them like coffee too. I'm just throwing that out there. I know that's the schema I have about the teachers that I know. So, okay. It also says that she loves to read and bake. Okay, cool. She loves to read and bake. I'm getting a lot of really great information about her, and that mountains are her happy place. So she likes the mountains too. But that really doesn't tell me a ton. I'm just going to kind of go through the pictures here, and I'm going to make some inferences based on what I see in the pictures. Okay, it looks like here's like a cheese board, and I'm thinking that she likes cheese a lot. That's a lot of cheese. That's a lot of cheese. Is there ever such thing as too much cheese? I don't think so. But it looks like she likes cheese. All right, cool. Going to the next picture right here, it looks like she's holding a coffee cup and a book. So I'm gonna guess, if I had to make an inference based on what I know and based on the picture clues right here, I would guess that she likes drinking coffee and reading books at the same time. Okay. Ooh, look, here's another clue. Look at this. There's a big stack of young adult books right here. I bet she likes reading young adult fiction. That's just an inference. It doesn't specifically state it, but the pictures here make me think that that's exactly what she likes. I see some more coffee. I see another book and some more coffee. Oh, look, here's another book here on the bottom again. Wow, okay, so she really does love to read. And I'm seeing a lot of young adult books. Here's a young adult book here and some young adult books here. So I'm wondering, maybe, just by making these inferences, I am really wondering that, or thinking that possibly a young adult book might be a good gift for her. If I just had to guess, right? If I was just making an inference based on her pictures. I'm also seeing here's another coffee picture here, coffee over here. There's coffee here, coffee here. Okay, ooh, you know what? I don't know my mom's friend very well, but I'm going to infer that she really does like coffee a lot. And it appears as though she's been to Starbucks a few times, because here's Starbucks here. I see a Starbucks here. So I'm guessing maybe a Starbucks gift card or a coffee from Starbucks or some type of Starbucks something, okay? Just by looking at her Instagram, that's what I can tell. And then, oh, she has a dog also. Ooh, maybe I could get something for her dog. Maybe she'd like that as well. So I want you to leave me a comment and tell me, what kind of things do you think would be good gifts for my mom's friend? Just based on the inferences that you were able to make here on her Instagram. What do you think? Now, I'm going to tell you what I will probably end up getting her. I will probably end up getting her like a Starbucks gift card and my personal favorite young adult book. Maybe she might like that. I'm just going to infer that she would based on the pictures that I see here and based on kind of what I know about people who post pictures about coffee and books. Those are things that they're probably using very frequently. That's what my schema is telling me as well. So I bet those would be really good things for my mom's friend. Now, can you think of something else that might be really good for my mom's friends just based on the inference that you were able to make on her Instagram? I would love for you to leave me a comment and let me know what you think. And I'll just kind of read through those as we're reading the story as well. Now, the story that we're going to read today is honestly a really fantastic story for not just making inferences, but it's great for talking about theme. And I believe when you were with Miss Abby the other day, maybe it was last week, she was talking about theme as well, or the central message of a book. So not only are we going to be making inferences about the story that I'm going to read to you today, but we're also going to be listening to see what we think the author is trying to teach us. What lesson is the author giving us with this story? So, let me read to you a couple of things that my friends here are saying about good gifts for my mom's friend, just based on her inferencegram. A coffee cup with a Barnes & Noble gift card inside, and maybe some Flair pens. Leslie, that's a fantastic idea. I love that because she's a teacher. My schema about teachers is that some of them really do like Flair pens. I think that's an awesome inference. So pin a rose on your nose, Leslie. That's really great. Barnes & Noble, she can get books there. She can also get coffee there. That's a really great gift. I absolutely love that. Pin a rose on your nose. Now let's go ahead and get started with the story. Keep in mind about the inferences that we just talked about here, as well as the theme or the central message of the story. What is the author going to teach us with this particular story? Now, I adore this book. I really love this particular author and the illustrator that she works together with at the same time. I'm sorry, I am just reading. I can't multitask. So I'm reading over here, I'm looking over here. Okay, the story I'm gonna read to you today is called The Koala Who Could. And again, a great story for talking about theme. And we're gonna make a couple of inferences here with this story as well. And I can't wait to share with you some of the other books that this author has written that I absolutely adore. Now, The Koala Who Could is a fiction story written by Rachel Bright and illustrated by Jim Field. I love the illustrations in this story, and I think if you've listened to any of my read alouds before, you know that I adore good illustrations. I love a good story that goes with those, and this book has that in spades. It is a precious tale of a little koala named Kevin who has kind of a fixed mindset, not a growth mindset. He's got kind of a fixed mindset. So I want you to be listening for how Kevin changes from the beginning of the story to the very end, and how his fixed mindset turns into a growth mindset. And then, of course, we'll be making inferences as well. So, The Koala Who Could by Rachel Bright and illustrated by Jim Field. Now, to make a good inference, you need to really be paying attention to the clues in the text, as well as observing what you see in the pictures. All of those things work together to help us make really good inferences. In a wonderful place where the day was just dawning and the breezes blew soft on a warm golden morning, in a place where the creatures ran wild and played free, a koala called Kevin clung to a tree. If you're clinging to something, you're holding on really tight. In the mornings, I cling to my coffee. A nicer gray fellow you never would meet, as soft as a soft thing, from ear tufts, these are his ear tufts, from ear tufts to feet. His favorite way to relax in the sun was to cling and to nap and to munch on a leaf bun. And after all this, well, he'd need a nice rest. Yes, Kevin likes sticking to what he knew best. Give me a thumbs up or tap a heart if you like sticking to what you know best. Like maybe you don't really like doing new things because it's so much more comfortable and so much safer when you stick to what you know best. If you can understand what that is, if you've ever experienced that, click a thumbs up, a happy face, tap the hearts, and let me know. Now let's take a look at all the animals here on this page. I want you to observe this really closely because we'll be making an inference in a little bit where I need you to help me. And so I want you to pay very close attention to the animals here on this page. All right, so you see, high up was safe since he liked a slow pace, while the ground down below seemed a frightening place. Too fast and too loud and too big and too strange. Nope, Kevin preferred not to move or to change. So Kevin feels more comfortable clinging to his tree. That's where it's safe. So he clung to his tree as he knew what to do, and he was never too keen to try anything new. That means He didn't want to try anything new. He wasn't fond of trying something new. So when Wombat stopped by and shouted one day, "Hey, Kevin, why don't you come down here and play?" Um, I think, he replied, I should stay on my plant. I'm busy right now. No, I'm sorry, I can't. That sounds like an excuse to me, but what do I know? I've made them before. Why not? Cried the Ruse with a super loud cheer. Yes, why? Called the Dingoes. There's nothing to fear. But Kevin, who'd never been one to act fast, said, I've cleaning to do, but it's nice that you asked. So take a look at the animals again, okay? We've got dingoes, we've got a wombat, we've got kangaroos, we've got a koala. This is going to play a part in our inference in just a minute. As Kevin sat watching them chatter and share, a part of him wished he could join in down there. A part of him wished he could join in down there. So if I had to make an inference right now, how would you infer that Kevin is feeling? I'm going to show you the pictures. He sees all of his friends right down here, and they're all enjoying some time by the campfire. And there he is, cleaning. Can you see that, or did I? Clinging to his tree. How do you think Kevin is feeling? How do you infer that he's feeling? What does your schema tell you about being left out of something? Have you ever been left out of something before? How did you feel? How do you think Kevin feels? And here's Kevin right here. But he knew he'd miss home. It was so dark and so late. The whole thing was risky. Whatever, an adventure could wait. Whatever the invite, he'd always say no. Oh dear, it seemed Kevin just couldn't let go. Bless his heart. Now look at his face. Make an inference about how Kevin's feeling here just based on the picture clues. What do you infer? How do you infer he's feeling here just by based on the picture clues? I kind of see that his mouth is turned and his eyes are like That to me, I make that kind of a face when I'm a little anxious or maybe nervous or kind of worried. That would be my inference. Maybe you have a different one. So his life was the same, no matter the day. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Sounds like quarantine. So his life was the same, no matter what day. The weeks came and went, and the months rolled away. And Kevin stayed still while the world moved around until he awoke to a worrying sound. What could it be? I love it when illustrators do this. Tap, tap, the sound went. Well, this was a blow. Tap, tappity, tap, 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 tap. Oh, no. Unclean, the crowd called, which had gathered below. Leap and we'll catch you. Just let yourself go. But Kevin was scared. Let go? No, I shan't. I won't, shouted Kevin. Oh dear, I just can't. Now take a look at the picture. Oh my goodness. I see that the tree is falling, and you know how I can tell that? Although it doesn't, specifically say right here, I can see that the leaves are moving this way, and it looks like the books are kind of popping out of the tree, and it looks like he's kind of going in a downward motion like this. So here comes the tree, and it's whoo! Down came the tree, and with it was bringing crash and a wallop. A Kevin still clinging. So even though the tree was going down, Kevin was still clinging. And remember what we said clinging meant. When you hold on really tight to something and he's still clinging to the tree. Kevin, he carefully opened one eye and looked up at the love staring down from the sky. Then one paw by one paw, he loosened his hold. He felt springy and light and happy and bold. Oh, Kevin. The worst he could think of had now come to pass, and he was just fine. Why, he felt quite first class. So when Wombat leaned over and held his paw out, Kevin no longer felt worry or doubt. Look at that. He doesn't look so scared and anxious anymore, does he? When Dingo asked, "Now will you come out to play?" the crowd all joined in with a, "What do you say?" And even though this wasn't part of his plan, Kevin replied, "Yes, I think that I can." And Kevin from then on was always can do. Because life can be great when you try something new. Isn't that a precious story? I love that. I love that Kevin changed his mindset from the beginning of the story to the very end. You see, at the very beginning of the story, he had a very fixed mindset, didn't he? He was thinking, I can't come down from the tree. I don't want to come down from the tree. I've always known the tree. The tree is best for me. It's what I know. It's where I feel comfortable. It's where I feel safe. There's so much risk down below. And he wasn't willing to try something new because he was afraid of how it would turn out. And I know that, I'm an adult and I still feel the same way sometimes. But what I really love about Kevin is that his mindset changed from the beginning to the end. Now, I want you to infer for me, just based on what you know about Kevin's character from reading the story. Now, this is not something that was stated in the story, but what do you think? What's your inference telling you? Do you think that if Kevin wasn't forced out of the tree, do you think he ever would have come down on his own? What do you infer? What do you think? And why do you think that? What do you think? Do you think he would have stayed in the tree forever, or do you think he would have eventually come down if nobody forced him down, if the tree hadn't come crashing down? Now, if you have visited the website today, that's not the only inference we're going to make. The website, justcaracarroll.com, where you can get these printables. And here is one of the printables right here. It's a Making Inferences printable. You can use this with any story that you want. You don't have to have this today. You can actually just make your inference aloud using your voice. You can use a scratch piece of paper and write that on there, or you can print this out and you can use this as well. But I want you to make an inference right now. I asked you to pay particular attention to the pictures and the illustrations in the story, especially the animals. Now, the story, the author never writes in the story the setting. She doesn't tell us exactly where the story is taking place, does she? She never says the story is taking place in Texas or in New York or anything like that, does she? She doesn't. She just gives us a lot of clues about the setting based on the illustrations and the animals in the story. So think about this really quick. I want you to infer for me, where does the setting take place? Where is the story taking place? What is the setting? You can give me your inference and tell me what you know that helps you, your schema that helped you to make this inference, and what is the evidence in the text that helped you to make your inference as well. So where could the story be taking place? What is the setting? Now, you're probably working on this right now, and good for you. I love it. That is so great. Way to be motivated on this Friday afternoon. But I'm going to go ahead and think aloud with you right now. And I'm just going to kind of go through, remember I was telling you about looking at those pictures really carefully and using the picture clues to also help you. Now I'm just going to kind of look, okay, almost like a desert-ish, but not really deserty, but kind of deserty. I see the cliffs and the waterfalls. Okay, I see bamboo trees. My schema is telling me that koalas eat bamboo. That's something I learned about koalas a long time ago. So in a bamboo tree, I don't see many of those here in America. Not a ton. There are. I just don't really see a ton. Okay. I don't really see a lot of koalas unless I go to the zoo, and I don't really go to the zoo very frequently. It looks like they're not in a zoo though. They're like out in the wild. Okay. So some bamboo. I got the, let's take a look. We've got kangaroos. I don't really often see kangaroos very much, unless I'm at a zoo, which I don't really visit very often. See a dingo? A dingo? Oh, I read a story one time. I'm making a text-to-text connection right now. I read a story one time about dingoes, and I learned about where dingoes live. Okay, and it's kind of coming to me now. Actually, dingoes and wombats and koalas live in the same type of area. My schema is telling me this. This is something that I've learned before. And the text is showing me that these are all animals that are in this story. So let's see, we've got dingoes and wombats and kangaroos and a koala. If I had to infer where the story is taking place, although the author never specifically says where it is, based on my schema and the clues in the story, I'm going to infer that this story is taking place in Australia. And I would try to do a really cool Australian accent because I think they're so beautiful, but I sound like a leprechaun every time I try to change my voice, so it doesn't work. I know that all of these animals that were here in the story are animals in Australia. And I bet that the author wants us to know, without saying it specifically, that this story is taking place in Australia. That's my inference based on the text clues and on my schema already. So there you go. That's how we make an inference. And I would encourage you, when you're reading any story or listening to your teacher read any story, what kind of inferences can you make as you're reading? What kind of things can you learn about while you're reading that the author isn't specifically stating in the story? Now, here are a couple of other things. I'm noticing that I'm running out of time. I've only got a couple of minutes left, so I'm going to quick roll through a couple of things that I have for you on the website if you haven't been there already. I have a directed drawing on the website for you. This is a little koala directed drawing. Pretty simple, but I would love to see your directed drawings. You can always tag me at Carroll on Instagram if you do one of these drawings. But I want to show you what I did with mine. I actually had my own kids help me with this, and I think this is something that you can do at home as well, or at school. So what I did was I drew the koala. I used my directed drawing template, and I drew the koala, I cut him out, and I glued him on a separate sheet of paper. And we saw in the story that Kevin had a fixed mindset at the beginning, but at the very end, he had grown, and he decided that, you know, trying new things wasn't really as bad as he thought it was. So I thought it would be really cool for you guys to think about some of the things that you're nervous about doing, things that you find are risky, things that you think are a little scary, or you're nervous to try, or you're nervous to do. And I thought you could set some goals for yourself. I had my own boys set some goals for themselves and tell me about some things that they would like to try. They would like to take a risk and be a little bit more like Kevin. Kevin is kind of the anchor animal, trying to remind us what it means to have a growth mindset. So I asked my boys, I was like, okay, what are some things that you would like to try? What are some goals that you can set for yourself? And we can keep this little checklist here so it can remind you of things that you might want to try and then check it off as you try it. And here's what they said. Try to ride a hoverboard. One of my boys is scared of riding, not scared, kind of nervous about it, doesn't want to get hurt. And if I'm being honest, that's kind of my fear too. One of mine, my other boy wants to try out for varsity choir. He's really nervous about doing that. The same one wants to speak in front of his class, but he's very nervous about that. So that's a goal he wants to set for himself. And then my other one said, try mom's ravioli. I have news for him. My ravioli is awesome. Okay. So it also comes out of a package. So there's not anything that's too scary about that, right? It's not made from scratch. So that's a goal he's setting for himself. And I'm going to post this on the fridge so that they can be constantly reminded of how they can kind of do away with those fixed mindsets, set some goals for themselves, and try something that is risky. Because as Kevin showed us in the story, sometimes it's really great to try new things. New things don't always have to be really scary. So you can grab all of these printables on the website, justcaracarroll.com, under the Education tab. Okay, you can grab all of those right there. Oh, I also have a couple of digital inference freebies on there for you too that are compatible with Google Classroom, Google Slides, and Seesaw. So you can grab those on the website as well. If you have any questions, just feel free to leave them here in the comments, and I will get to them right after this. So my time is up. You guys stay tuned for Class Fit right after this, and have a wonderful Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Blur's Day, whatever it is for you. Have a great weekend, and we will see you soon. Bye, Facebook and Instagram. Thank you for joining us. We will see you later. Bye.